Anyone who watches Bluey has no idea how different this animated series was supposed to be. Lucky for you, we're going to show you that right now. Are you ready to find out how your favorite series was almost a completely different show? Rusty. You might not even have known Bluey. That's right, the Little Dog series wasn't going to be called Bluey, and the main character was going to be Rusty the Kelpie. Joe Brumm, the creator of the show, built Rusty based on a dog he had when he was a kid. The idea was still to create a colorful cartoon with a cute family of Australian dogs, but everything changed when the creator realized that kids liked watching a little blue dog as the main character more than a character of any other color. Besides that, Bluey is a girl because the creator of the series has 2 daughters, and the routine in his house with them helped build the stories of our favorite show. Now, if you put Rusty next to Bluey, you'll notice that the 2 designs are almost the same, like they were twin siblings in different colors. The reason for that is that some animations were probably made using Rusty's style, so when it was time to change the main character, it was easier. Of course, this is only one of many changes in the cartoon. Want to know more? So grab your popcorn and get comfy on the couch. Another Cinewave is starting. Bad dad. Can you imagine Bandit being a bad dad? That is exactly what would have happened if the original idea for the series had worked out. In the 2016 pilot episode, we see an official animation of the show made by Ludo Studios, showing what the idea for the Bluey series would have been like. Let's make it clear that a pilot episode is what animators make to sell the idea of a series, kind of like a commercial for TV channels. In the scenes from this pilot, we see Bandit taking Bluey to the city park, but he has a serious look on his face, no energy to help his daughter with the playground toy she wants to use so badly, and he even keeps looking at his phone screen instead of paying attention to his daughter. Bandit was going to be a dad who didn't take part much in playing with his daughters, and that could not be more different from the Mr. Healer we know today. The creator of the series realized that the dad of the family had to be sweet, attentive, caring, and super fun. That's why Bluey is so great, don't you agree? Missing brother. In the first episode of Bluey, the Magic Xylophone, we see a scene of Chloe's mom walking with a baby stroller. This scene may seem like a small thing, but it is proof that the younger brother of Bluey's best friend disappeared from the series. And we're not saying he was kidnapped or anything like that, none of that. The creators of the cartoon decided that this character would disappear for some reason that has never been explained to this day. We know that Chloe the Dalmatian is Bluey's best friend, besides Bingo, which means Chloe's family would be very close to the Healers. That's why they appear right in the first episode of the animated series. But where is the little Dalmatian dog's brother? He simply vanished. From what it looks like, the creators gave up on exploring this character. Mean Bluey. Did you know that even Bluey's personality was going to be different? The creators had a plan to make Bluey a meaner girl, and we see that in the first episode of the cartoon. In this story, we see that Bluey doesn't want to share Bandit's attention with her younger sister. Besides that, the main character gets annoyed by the fact that Bingo is younger and slower, so she doesn't want to let Bingo use the magic xylophone. In this episode, Bingo gets upset because Bluey keeps stopping her from playing, and Chili has to scold her daughter, saying that if she doesn't share the toy with her younger sister, neither of them will be allowed to play. This detail makes it clear that Bluey was not going to be a very good sister to Bingo at the beginning, and poor Bingo only got to play with the xylophone when she used it herself to freeze Bluey. The creators realized that the main character couldn't be such a bad sister like that, since fans would spend more time with her than with any other character. That's why today Bluey is a sweet and loving little dog with Bingo, but you've probably noticed that the main character still makes some mistakes, right? Those wrong attitudes from Bluey are what was left from the original ideas. Would you like to be the Healer Pup's brother or sister? Comment the hashtag Bluey so we can get to know each other. Accent. Do you know what an accent is? It's the way a person speaks that makes it clear where they're from, and this was an almost change that was super important in the Bluey series. Maybe you don't know this, but Bluey is a cartoon about a family of Australian dogs, which means the story takes place in that country. But the cartoon only became famous when it reached the United States, and at this point we discovered the big change in the series. Actually, what almost happened. When Bluey was bought by Disney, Mickey Studios asked for the characters' voices to be changed to the way Americans speak, and not not Australians. For the rest of the world, it wouldn't make a difference, but Disney wanted the original language of the cartoon to be English spoken in the United States. But the creator of the series, Joe Brumm, did not accept that because it would be the same as destroying the personality of the cartoon. That's why the healers and their friends are Australian and not American. Mackenzie. Here we're going to show you a very interesting change in the cartoon. You know Mackenzie? That dark red little dog with an upside down square design on his chest who likes playing cricket. Don't know who we're talking about? Of course we understand your confusion. You think we're talking about Rusty, don't you? That is the big change from the original cartoon. In the 2016 pilot, two little dogs come up to Bluey, one from the Border Collie breed and another from the Red Kelpie breed. But when Bluey calls out for Mackenzie, the character who answers is the one we know today as Rusty. Back then, the creators of the cartoon had the idea of giving Rusty the name Mackenzie, but only later did they change their minds and make the Border Collie have that name instead. That's a change you weren't expecting, right? Setting. The setting in Bluey also changed a lot from the original ideas to what was delivered in the series. The episode The Weekend from season 1 shows really well what we're talking about. In the original idea, the kitchen table was going to be light blue and there would only be a pitcher of water for Bingo. But in the version that actually aired, the table is made of wood, there is a nicer pitcher of juice, and Bingo eats cereal from a green bowl with stars that is way cooler than the one animated in the previous episode. They made the episode look much prettier. The house is also different. Notice that in the first version, the walls of the house are much whiter, with very few details in a pretty boring way. But in the version that aired, the house is more brown, made of wood, with more colorful furniture and objects around it. Honestly, this change was really important for the series. Spots. In that same episode, we can see that Bandit was going to look different in the original version. Notice that his face would not have the full dark spot on the front of his head. Besides that, Mr. Healer's belly would not have the yellow spot we know today. Now, in the version that actually aired, these two features were changed to make Bandit look friendlier. And it wasn't just Bandit. Bluey also had a change in her design, but in her case, we'll need to make another item on the list because it's more special than you can imagine. Pretty cool, right? Have you ever thought about discovering details just like this on our channel? The subscribe button is right there, waiting for you. How about clicking and keeping up with everything we post? Disney. You may not have noticed this, but Bluey has some special little spots on the back of her body, close to the main character's tail. In the 2016 pilot episode, we see 6 circle-shaped spots on her back. There are 3 big dots and 3 smaller ones, and you might be wondering what is so special about that? Well, it has everything to do with Disney. As you already know, Bluey is a cartoon distributed around the world thanks to Disney+. And because of that, the main character got a super cute and special change. The Bluey we know today has 3 spots on her back, and if you pay close attention, you'll see that those spots are actually shaped like Mickey's head and ears. This was also a change in the character's design to catch the attention of Disney Studios, and apparently, it worked because Bluey is known all over the world thanks to that. Soundtrack. Now we're going to tell you a detail about Bluey that will make you rewatch every single episode of the series just to make sure of what we're talking about. Every episode of Bluey has a different and unique soundtrack, which means no song is the same. This was a change made by Joff Bush, the person responsible for the music in the series. And this isn't just something new for Bluey, but for animated shows in general. Cartoons usually use the same soundtrack for different episodes because it's easier and faster, but that's not how Bluey works. If you rewatch everything, you'll notice the difference. Names. This is a change you might never notice, but it's important to know that the names of some characters change depending on the country where you're watching. For example, Bluey is called just Blue without the Y in Romania, and in the Czech Republic, she is called Blia. Bandit is called Billy in Sweden and Buster in the Netherlands. Now, Chili is named Caramella in Romania and Silja in Iceland. That same country calls Bingo Bara. Strange, right? Bandit's older brother has the original name Radley, but in Brazil he is called Jose, and in Sweden they changed it to Ralph. Chili's sister is called Betty in Brazil, but in the rest of the world she is Brandy, except in Sweden where they call her Bianca. Pretty cool, right? But these are changes that not many people know about. Age. Bluey in the 2016 episode was going to be younger than the version that aired in the original Disney series. Bluey looks like a little girl of only 3 or 4 years old, and she would still need a baby stroller to get around. The Bluey we know today is 7 years old, but this change was necessary because if Bluey were too young, Bingo would be even younger and wouldn't be able to run, jump, and play with her older sister. See? Some changes are super important, just like you know that not leaving our channel is even more important. The fun doesn't stop here. There are 2 amazing videos waiting for you on the screen. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.